in week 7 of our ACT review, and this week we have a passage from Zora Neale Hurston. She is the author, and this passage comes from Mules and Man. It was copyrighted in 1935. It's an older piece, but it's a good example of a social science type piece that we might find in the ACT passages. I want you to remember that this is a shorter piece than you would normally have. Most of your ACT pieces would probably be about twice this long. But for our purposes, to be able to see it all at one time, we're using shorter pieces. Also, I want to remind you that in the ACT, you're going to have 5 passages and probably 8 questions per passage. In 35 minutes, you will answer 40 questions like this. So you have to learn to skim or read quickly, or sometimes not really fully read it all, but be able to look and find what you're looking for. So let's get started. All right, the first question asks us about a metaphor. We have that term metaphor there. Which of the following does she use as a metaphor for the culture in which she was born? If you look back, many times in a test, questions will kind of follow the order of the test. And so this one comes near the first. Doesn't always happen, but sometimes it's a good place to start looking. So we go over here and we look, and if you just glance through this, you read down here somewhere, let me find it, I've lost it now. Here is the word garment. Okay, so as I'm looking through, I'm looking kind of for those words just to get me in the right direction, and I see college there. And I don't see much about Southern State until down here. And then I see spyglass right here. And then story, the word story is kind of throughout. But if I pay attention to that, just to those terms, I realize that they're kind of clumped right in here. Most of them are. So that's where I'm going to look for my answer. So it says, it was only when I was off in college away from my native surroundings that I could stand off and look at my garment. Well, in that case, she's not talking about just looking at the clothing she's wearing, because she's talked about how she is going to collect this Negro folklore, and she's talking about how her experience in life was fitting her like a tight chemise, which is like an undergarment. So we know she's talking about clothing, but not real clothing. And that's what a metaphor does. It compares things in a way that you're comparing something not literally to another thing. So in this case, she is talking about her culture and calling it a garment. It's like clothing that she has put on or has been wearing. So hopefully you found the answer to that.